the station that's on your side. This is News 12, NBC 26 at 11.
Good evening. New at 11, a 19-year-old has died after being shot in Rennes earlier this morning. Jefferson County Dispatch says they received a call about a shooting shortly after 1 a.m. at a home on Washington Street. When authorities arrived to the scene, they found a woman inside the home unconscious. She was then taken to AU Medical Center, where she later died. This is just the second shooting death for Rennes this year. The first was back in June after a store clerk at the Rennes Food Mart was killed during an alleged armed robbery. In that case, 2 people have been arrested and charged with murder, armed robbery, and more. And our Audrey Dickerber has been following this latest shooting all day. Audrey, you spoke with the mom of the victim. How is her family taking this sudden loss?
It's been a very emotional and difficult time for the family of Kaya and anyone who was close to her. Posts and comments on Facebook talk about what a great person she was and how she will be missed. When I spoke to her mom today, she was surrounded by many people who are helping her through this difficult time.
Everybody loved their Kaya. She was just this warm person, and they just took her away from me.
An unexpected tragedy, leaving their family in shock.
Never in a million years that I thought that I would be woken up with her saying she was shot. Never.
She grew up on this street, a sudden shift for this calm community.
It's a very quiet neighborhood. You know, I've been here for 41 years, so never had this issue.
Everybody that knew Kaya loved her.
It's a great, spirited, beautiful young lady that was just taken from me just too soon.
Who had big plans for her future.
She wanted to be a teacher, but little kids always latched on to her. For some reason, all the kids that she was around, and like her godson, even her, her cousin, she was just that person that they would latch to, that they would connect with.
And she says she hopes this doesn't happen to anyone else ever again.
Put the guns down. Put the guns down. We have to come as one and as a community and stop this gun violence because it's getting out of hand, especially for Jefferson County.
Now she's holding her family even closer, but says nothing can replace Kaya and the bond they had.
She will be missed. She was my only child. My only child.
Mom says they plan on holding a balloon release in honor of her with orange balloons, her favorite color.
And at this time, no suspects have been named. And thank you for that coverage, Audrey. And we'll continue to follow this story as it develops. But now we're going to toss things over to First Alert meteorologist Emily Acton. And Emily, did we see any record high temps today?
Craig, definitely close in some places, some record highs in others. Nonetheless, we were very close neck and neck there. Most of us saw that century mark for high temperatures today, and I'll have a map to show you guys that in just a little bit. But tomorrow, the heat's going to continue. Seeing some heat advisories for our western counties, but nonetheless, all of us can expect some higher temperatures tomorrow. But with that, we're going to get some relief in the form of rainfall, so that'll definitely help us out. Now, depending on exactly what time that's going to pull through, that's when, or that could really determine our high temperatures, if they'll make it into those upper 90s or if they'll stay in the lower 90s. Again, really depending on that rainfall there. So throughout the day tomorrow, I'm going to say go ahead and put 95 for on the average. There we go. For high temperatures again, Craig. Depending on when that rainfall rolls in, that's going to depend on if we'll reach that 95. But speaking of rainfall, we have lots of rain in the forecast, and I'll have that broken down for you coming up soon.
In South Carolina, the Berkeley County Coroner's Office has determined what caused the death of a baby girl who was found dead at a high school parking lot. The coroner says the heat temperature contributed to the 16-month-old's death. The baby was found in a car seat in the back of a car Friday afternoon. Investigators say the owner of the car was a staff member at the high school and forgotten to drop the little girl off at daycare. This time, it's unclear if anyone will be facing charges. And the body found in the search of a missing DeKalb County toddler has still not yet been identified. Earlier this week, a body was found during the search for 2-year-old Josiah Mitchell, who went missing more than 2 weeks ago. Crews searched all last weekend into the week for the child, including draining a lake at Josiah's dad's apartment complex. The toddler's father at first said someone had kidnapped his son, but police say that was not true and has since arrested Artravius North, who is in jail on charges of making false statements and filing a false report. And the Transport Workers Union of America and the Sierra Club held a Ride the Bus Day to bring a renewed focus on transit and those who use the Augusta Transit bus service on the regular. News 12 caught up with Heather Morales, a transit specialist, who says today's event was also about engaging with the community.
The main goal was to have them speak about the Clean Air Initiative, but also to engage the community and bringing forward any issues or concerns or questions that they have about the transportation.
The event also aimed to demonstrate how transit services benefit the community by removing barriers, improving access, and restoring transportation equity. Also today, over at the Good Shepherd Baptist Church, they held a day of nonstop laughter and fun at their spectacular family reunion event. They had free food, inflatables, plus on our first alert meteorologist, Mikhail Hannah Harding, was there for the event.
Well, hopefully they stayed cool out there. Now tomorrow, going to be pretty much the same as what we saw today, but a few degrees cooler. So I'm thankful for that, but a big cool down coming this week. But with that, going to see some rainfall. I'll have that broken down for you coming up soon.
And when News 12 NBC 26 at 11 continues, we remember the life and legacy of former host of The Price is Right, Bob Barker.
When I need a pair of
Another mass shooting tearing through a community just going through everyday life. Today it happened at a Dollar General store in Jacksonville, Florida, and the shooter has been killed. Marissa Pera has late details.
In Jacksonville, Florida tonight, a Dollar General store turns into a crime scene. The sheriff's office confirms multiple fatalities from a shooting, including the gunman.
This is our own neighborhood. We can't even go to the store.
Jacksonville's mayor racing to the scene.
It's just so awful that they have got to deal with this type of thing time and time again. And we've got to find some better ways of dealing with this violence. It's just heartbreaking.
Police and SWAT teams seen running down surrounding streets. Students asked to stay in place at nearby Edward Waters University as a precaution, as yet another community is left looking for strength in each other, with little answers to a tragedy seen all too often.
I'm emotional. It's unjust that we can't even walk on the sidewalks. We're not safe in any stores.
Several people were also injured in a mass shooting in Boston this morning. Police say the shooting took place in the city's Dorchester neighborhood during the Joubert Parade, which is part of the city's annual Caribbean Carnival. At least 7 people were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and 2 people have since been arrested. Well, Bob Barker, the former longtime host of the game show The Price is Right, has died. Barker served as the host on the classic game show for 35 years before passing the mic to comedian Drew Carey in 2007. He has earned 19 Daytime Emmys and a Lifetime Achievement Award. Barker had also hosted the show Truth or Consequences from 1956 to 1974. He was inducted into the Television Academy's Hall of Fame in 2004 and was also well known for his advocacy for animal welfare issues. Bob Barker was 99 years old. And no more cameras in the courtroom. That's what the defense for the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students is asking for. Brian Kohberger's attorneys filed a motion asking that cameras be banned from the courtroom for the rest of the case, including the trial. The judges ordered that camera shots not be focused exclusively on Kohberger or on any paper or notes on the defense's table. The defense attorneys say that's not being followed, arguing photos paired with prejudicial headlines and content can gradually poison the potential jury pool before the trial starts. And the family of Bronny James has revealed the cause of his cardiac arrest. Family spokesperson says it stems from a congenital heart defect. And Bronny, the son of LeBron James, is expected to make a full recovery following treatment for the condition. The 18-year-old suffered a cardiac arrest in July during basketball practice at the University of Southern California. Family says they are very confident he will return to basketball in the very near future.
Well, we did reach some record highs this afternoon, 101 for Augusta, and that's the actual temperature. Now, tomorrow going to be a little bit cooler, but a big cool down in our near future. I'll have that broken down for you coming up soon.
And rare wildfires are blazing, and a new weather threat is heading towards the south. We'll have those details coming up next.
Friday night starting at 5:30 on News 12.
Rare wildfires are burning in the south and forcing mass evacuations in the state of Louisiana. Priscilla Thompson tells us the fires are fueled by the relentless heat and ongoing drought. And now a new weather threat is heading for the region.
Tonight, a wildfire emergency in Louisiana. Several raging throughout the state. This one scorching more than 30,000 acres in southwest Louisiana. Residents forced to evacuate as firefighters race to contain these terrifying flames.
Nobody alive in Louisiana has ever seen these conditions. It's never been this hot, this dry, for this long.
In DeRuyter, Louisiana, this church, now a shelter. William and Leota Lacey grabbed their grandkids and rushed out. Have you all ever seen anything like this here?
No, never.
Jada Watkins and her grandma were unable to grab medication, including insulin, as they say the smoke closed in.
I remember when we were leaving, I couldn't breathe. I really couldn't.
The flames tied to Louisiana's drought and the hottest summer on record. Across the country, nearly 90 million are under heat alerts through the weekend. And now, another threat, a tropical depression barreling towards the Gulf. In Florida, today, the governor issuing a state of emergency ahead of the storm that could slam them next week.
And bringing things back to the CSRA, we had another day of high temperatures, but Emily, you said we can see some isolated storms tomorrow. Does that mean we can also see a little break from the heat?
A little bit, depending on the timing, Craig. That's really going to be a key factor. I mean, an hour earlier, that could make a 5-degree difference in our high temperatures. So it's really going to be a waiting game tomorrow afternoon. But nonetheless, still expected to be a few degrees cooler than what we saw today. Again, we hit at Butch Field 101 this afternoon for the actual temperature, not the feels like actual temperature. Definitely just wanted to make sure that that was clear. But throughout our work week, gonna see some showers and thunderstorms for 2 reasons, but I'll get to that, I guess, in a second. I'm jumping ahead of myself here. A couple of isolated showers starting to really diminish across the CSRA, so we're drying out for the overnight hours, and we're gonna remain dry overnight, but as we head throughout the day tomorrow, that's when, or I should say really the afternoon, that's when we can see some showers and thunderstorms move through. And like I said, depending on the timing, that's going to determine our high temperatures. But nonetheless, around dinner time, isolated showers and thunderstorms across the CSRA. For the overnight hours, though, not looking too bad. But this is the main weather story that we're focusing on right now. The tropics. We have Hurricane Franklin. It's Category 1 hurricane right now, expected to strengthen into a Category 3. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because it's going to be a fisherman storm out of our hair. Now, this is the next main story that we are keeping an eye on. This is currently Tropical Depression 10. Tomorrow morning, we could be seeing Hurricane Idalia. There we go. I got it. Idalia. So, again, this is expected to strengthen into a hurricane right now, just a tropical depression moving into the Gulf of Mexico. But we are kind of on the better side of the storm if this track stays true. You always want to be on the left side of the eye. So, where this track has it going, we will be, most of us, almost all of us, will be on that left side. So that's definitely some good news. Still going to see plenty of rainfall from this. But again, this is not set in stone. This is most likely going to change as we get closer to time. But as of right now, it's looking like Wednesday. It's expected to make landfall. But here's one model that I'm showing you. Expected to make landfall just in the little crease right there of Florida, bringing it northward and then back into the Atlantic. Now here is a little bit of a different model for us, and this has it going pretty much in the same direction, but a little bit weaker, still bringing us tons of heavy rainfall throughout the week. I'm expecting to see isolated to scattered showers Monday and Tuesday, but by the time we get to the end of our work week, we could have seen up to 3 inches of rainfall in some spots. But again, isolated showers Sunday and Monday, becoming more scattered and widespread Tuesday, Wednesday, and the same can be said for Thursday, Craig. Lots of rainfall. Very different pattern than what we saw last week. Last week we were talking about record heat, triple digits. Now we're in the 80s, but I don't really think we're going to enjoy it because it's going to be raining.
Certainly praying for some rain to keep the temperatures cooler, but not that much. Hoping that storm doesn't hit us too hard. But coming up in sports, Burke County travels to Effingham for a Saturday night showdown, plus round 3 of the PGA Championship wraps up in East Lake. And as we head into break, here's a live look at New York City and your winning lotto numbers.
Cadillac. On your sideline, sports brought to you by the Hawk Law Group.
All right, Burke County doesn't play a region game until the end of September. That's over the next 3 weeks. They'll go the distance. They'll travel 250 miles to play some non-region opponents. Tonight was their first leg of that trip. They traveled 75 miles south to suit up against Effingham County.
It was a low-scoring defensive battle between the Rebels and Bears. A late first-half Burke County field goal gave the Bears a 10-6 lead heading into halftime. Both teams really continued to struggle offensively through the third quarter. The score remains 10-6 all the way until late in the fourth quarter. The Rebels back with the ball with 3 minutes left to play. Nate Davis drops back to pass and connects with Zach Grant for a first down pickup. Getting across midfield a few plays later, AJ Butts gets the carry with under 2 minutes to play. He grinds his way for a first down and into the Burke County red zone. The Rebels end up facing 4th and goal to go with under 1 minute to play, and all but seals it. Burke County was able to run out the clock after that. Bears bring home a winner, 10-6.
Jackets had a surprise waiting for them in the 5th, and it was a gift that didn't come with a return receipt. The Dogs put up 4, bringing in 2 with a line to left, making it 8-1. You know what they say, if you give a dog a bone. Jackets fall 8-7. All right, Braves and Giants. The Braves' single-season franchise mark for first inning runs is 127, set in 1999. Atlanta is 2 runs shy of matching that mark after today. 7 of the Braves' 9 starters had at least 1 hit. Matt Olson and Arcia knocked in 2 each. Max Fried is back and didn't look like a guy who missed 70 games today. He pitched a solid 6 innings with 8 strikeouts. Braves take it 7-3. It guarantees them their first series win in San Francisco since taking 3 of 4 in 2019. Over at East Lake for the Tour Championship, they call it moving day for a reason, and it looked nothing like the traffic you see in Atlanta. It took no time for Victor Hovland to claim the top spot way ahead of the field, and he did it all despite the weather delay. He shot a 66 to move 6 ahead of Xander Schauffele, 7 in front of Colin Morikawa, who he started the day tied with.
You know, I just try to control the things that I can control, work on the things that I've been working on, you know, my short game, some of the shots that I've been hitting. That's the stuff I think is really cool to see, and then it's just a matter of implementing it in the tournament, and that's what I've been able to do the last couple weeks, basically the whole year, and yeah, it's fun to see the results that come from that.
Already is attempting to become just the 4th golfer to win the BMW Championship and Tour Championship back-to-back if he can continue his lead over Schauffele, who has never shot over par. All right, just before we go, USA men's and women's floor.
I had to show the estimated rainfall today because where we take our estimates from didn't measure any rainfall for us here in Augusta and Aiken. Again, that's just where we take our estimates. Sorry about that, but I'll have one more look at your forecast and you'll see plenty of rain coming up after the break.
Let me tell you.
All night. Alrighty, one more story before we go. The manager at a Pennsylvania park says she was driving through Cross Fork last weekend when she spotted a cub with a plastic container on its head. Sarah Lindgren says it took about 10 seconds to free the cub, which eventually climbed into a tree. And Lindgren says the cub was very weak and dehydrated, and she doubts it would have survived another day without intervention. But Lindgren didn't see a mama bear around, but believes the cub is roughly 8 months old, which means it is old enough to survive. On its own, I'm thinking a classic Winnie the Pooh kind of case here. Getting the head stuck in the honey jar.
He's so little.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
These are bad because you're like, like, oh my gosh, they're so cute, let me hold it. Don't do that, you know? I feel like that's probably not the best. And they're lucky that the mom wasn't around too.
Yeah.
That would have been real bad.
Hopefully she was close enough by if that little cub needed her.
I
but-
definitely would have been hit with a case of the cuddles there. That
I know, I would
that
have
was so
been
adorable.
I didn't realize how small they are. You know, I mean, obviously, like they're a baby, it's 8 months.
Yeah.
Old. I always thought they would
be bigger than that.
Yeah.
I feel that too. I feel like you might not be the only one.
But thanks to Lindgren for saving the little cub there.
Yeah, I
Great
know.
stuff.
So sweet. I want to take one last look at the forecast. Do have a heat advisory for most of our western counties tomorrow. That'll expire at 8 p.m. But we've got plenty of rainfall in the forecast, so I hope you're ready for it. Really, Tuesday through Thursday looking like the best chance of some widespread rainfall, and that's going to be due to a cold front, but also possible Hurricane Idalia.
No cool days for me.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for joining us here at News 12 NBC 26 at 11. Be sure, if you're waking up, to join Ashley Campbell and Chris Still.